Hey everyone, welcome back to Powerful Living Habits. Have you ever wanted someone to miss you so deeply that you're the first thought on their mind when they wake up and the last one before they fall asleep? Well, you're in the right place, because today we're going to uncover the secrets of making yourself absolutely unforgettable in someone's life. We're diving deep into 15 powerful principles that aren't just about creating a little longing. They're about transforming you into someone who is profoundly missed whenever you're not around. As the great philosopher Seneca once said, absence sharpens love, presence strengthens it. Let's explore how we can sharpen that connection to the point where your absence is genuinely and powerfully felt. Remember, don't skip any part, because each principle is a key piece of the puzzle in mastering the art of being deeply missed. This isn't about manipulation, it's about becoming the best version of yourself, someone so valuable and enriching that your absence creates a noticeable void. Before we jump in, here's a little task for you. Drop a comment below with the words, "deeply missed." It's short, sweet, and perfectly captures the spirit of our chat today. Plus, it'll be fun to see how many of you are playing along. Now, let's get ready to explore these 15 powerful strategies that will make them yearn for your presence, even when you're not around. Music. Principle 1. Authentic self-expression. Let's dive right into our first principle. Authentic self-expression. You might be wondering, how does being authentic make someone miss me more? Well, in a world where many people wear masks and present carefully curated versions of themselves, genuine authenticity stands out and creates lasting impressions. Imagine this. When you express yourself authentically, you're not trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. You're showing up as your true self, with all your unique perspectives, passionate interests, and even your endearing quirks. This authenticity creates a powerful connection because humans are naturally drawn to what's real and genuine. Think about the people in your life who have made the strongest impression on you. Chances are, they weren't trying to be someone they're not. They were confidently expressing their authentic selves. When you embrace your authenticity, you become memorable in a way that manufactured personas never could be. When you're not around, people miss the refreshing honesty and unique energy that only you bring. They miss your genuine perspectives and the way you express yourself, unlike anyone else. In a world full of copies, your authenticity makes you irreplaceable. So, lean into what makes you different. Share your true thoughts, express your real emotions, and let people see the genuine you. This doesn't mean oversharing or being inappropriate. It simply means removing the filters that prevent people from connecting with the real you. Remember, authenticity isn't just about being yourself. It's about being your best self, honestly. When you do this consistently, you create a space in people's lives that no one else can fill, making your absence felt deeply whenever you're not around. Principle 2. Cultivated mystery. Now for our second principle, cultivated mystery. This might sound contradictory after talking about authenticity, but they actually complement each other perfectly. Cultivated mystery doesn't mean being fake or secretive. It's about understanding that you don't need to reveal every aspect of yourself at once. As Oscar Wilde wisely noted, a little mystery is a valuable thing. Think about it this way. When you share everything about yourself immediately, you leave nothing for others to discover over time. The most fascinating people reveal themselves in layers, giving others the joy of gradually uncovering the depth of who they are. Imagine meeting someone new and immediately learning everything about them. Their entire life story, all their hobbies, every opinion they hold. The intrigue would quickly fade, wouldn't it? Now imagine instead meeting someone who thoughtfully shares meaningful aspects of themselves over time, each revelation adding new dimension to your understanding of them. When you practice cultivated mystery, you create space for curiosity. People find themselves thinking about you when you're not around, wondering about the depths they haven't yet explored. They look forward to learning more about you with each interaction, making your absence a time of anticipation rather than mere separation. This isn't about playing games or being deliberately enigmatic. It's about understanding that true connection develops gradually and that there's value in allowing others to discover you over time rather than presenting everything at once. So share authentically, but resist the urge to overshare. Allow your layers to be revealed naturally through meaningful conversation and shared experiences. Leave room for discovery, for questions, for curiosity. When you do, you'll find that people miss not just your presence, but the ongoing journey of getting to know you more deeply. Principle 3. Meaningful presence. Our third principle focuses on something that seems deceptively simple, yet is increasingly rare in our distracted world: meaningful presence. In an age where divided attention has become the norm, being fully present with someone is perhaps the most powerful gift you can give them. When you're truly present, you're not just physically there. You're mentally, emotionally, and spiritually engaged in the moment and with the person before you. Imagine having a conversation where the other person is completely tuned in to you, maintaining eye contact, responding thoughtfully to what you say, asking insightful questions, and showing genuine interest in your thoughts and feelings. No checking phones, no scanning the room for something more interesting, no waiting for their turn to speak rather than truly listening. How valued would that make you feel? When you offer this kind of meaningful presence to others, you create powerful, memorable interactions. You make people feel seen, heard, and appreciated in a way that few others do. As the philosopher Simone Weil observed, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. The magic happens when you're no longer around. The contrast between your fully engaged presence and the half-present interactions that fill most people's days becomes stark and noticeable. People miss the quality of attention you give them, the way you make them feel important and valued through your undivided focus. So practice being fully present in your interactions. Put away your phone, maintain eye contact, listen actively, and respond to what's actually being said, rather than what you assume or want to hear. Ask thoughtful questions that show you're truly engaging with the other person's words. When you master meaningful presence, your absence creates a void that casual, distracted interactions simply cannot fill. People will find themselves missing the quality of connection you provide, making your return something to be eagerly anticipated. Principle 4. Self-Sufficiency. Let's dive into our fourth principle, self-sufficiency. You might be wondering how being self-sufficient makes someone miss you more. Well, it's all about showing that you are complete on your own, which is incredibly attractive and intriguing in any relationship. Imagine this: when you're self-sufficient, you're not clinging or desperately seeking attention from others. Instead, you're out there living your best life, engaged in your interests, and fulfilling your own needs. This independence sparks curiosity and admiration in others. When you demonstrate self-sufficiency, others begin to see you not just as a companion, but as an individual thriving on your own terms. You create healthy space in relationships, not distance, but room for both people to grow individually while still connecting meaningfully. And what happens when you're not around? People start to wonder what you're up to. They recall how you handle things with such autonomy and poise. They start to miss that vibrant, self-reliant side of you that doesn't need them, but chooses to include them in your life. Self-sufficiency means having your own interests, friends, and activities that fulfill you. It means being able to solve your own problems, manage your emotions, and find joy independently. When you cultivate these capabilities, you become someone who enriches others' lives rather than depending on them for fulfillment. So, embrace your independence. Develop your own interests. Nurture your own friendships. Pursue your own goals. Show that while you value the relationship, you're not defined by it. This doesn't push others away. It actually pulls them into a deeper, more respectful admiration of who you are. Remember, people don't miss what they always have. By being self-sufficient, you remind others that your presence in their life is a choice, not a necessity, and that makes your absence felt all the more keenly. Principle 5. Emotional intelligence. Now, let's explore our fifth principle, emotional intelligence. This is about understanding and managing your own emotions, while skillfully navigating the emotions of others, a quality that makes your presence invaluable and your absence deeply felt. Emotional intelligence involves several key components: self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. When you develop these abilities, you become someone who not only handles your own emotional landscape with grace, but also creates a safe, understanding space for others. Imagine being around someone who never overreacts, who listens without judgment when you're upset, who knows exactly when you need comfort versus when you need space. Someone who can diffuse tension with the right words, who acknowledges your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. How refreshing would that be? When you demonstrate emotional intelligence, you become an emotional anchor for others, a source of stability and understanding in a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming. You don't take things personally when they're not meant that way. You respond rather than react. You validate others' feelings without necessarily agreeing with their conclusions. And when you're not around, that's when people truly notice the emotional steadiness you bring to their lives. They miss your calming presence, your insightful perspective, your ability to help them make sense of their own feelings. They find themselves thinking, "I wonder what they would say about this situation," or "They would know exactly how to handle this." So work on developing your emotional intelligence. Practice recognizing your emotions without being controlled by them. Learn to pause before responding when triggered. Cultivate genuine empathy by trying to understand others' perspectives. Develop the social awareness to read the emotional temperature of a room. When you master emotional intelligence, you become someone who makes others feel understood and supported in a way few people can. Your absence creates an emotional gap that others feel deeply, making them genuinely miss the unique emotional support you provide. Principle 6. Thoughtful communication. Our sixth principle is thoughtful communication, and it's about the quality rather than quantity of your interactions. In a world of endless chatter and noise, communicating with intention and depth makes you stand out and be remembered. Thoughtful communication means choosing your words carefully, ensuring they're meaningful and add value. It's about speaking with purpose and depth, which can profoundly impact how you are perceived and remembered. As Epictetus wisely advised, if you wish to be loved, love measure in speech. Picture this. Every time you speak, you do so with the intent to connect, to understand, and to enrich the interaction. You're not just filling the air with words or saying what you think others want to hear. You're expressing thoughts that are genuine, considered, and valuable. This doesn't mean every communication needs to be profound. Sometimes thoughtful communication is simply asking the right question at the right time, or offering a sincere compliment, or knowing when silence is more powerful than words. The key is intentionality, speaking with purpose rather than from habit or obligation. When you communicate thoughtfully, your words linger in people's minds. Your voice echoes in their thoughts even when you're not around. They find themselves reflecting on what you said, pondering your insights, and looking forward to your next conversation. By practicing thoughtful communication, you create layers of curiosity and interest. Others appreciate not just the conversation, but you as the communicator. They value the way you make them think, the way you express ideas, the way you listen before responding. So, harness the power of thoughtful communication. Make your words count. Be concise when brevity serves best, elaborate when depth is needed. Ask questions that show genuine interest. Listen actively and respond to what was actually said rather than what you assumed was meant. When you master this principle, your words will continue to resonate even in your absence, keeping you present in thoughts and conversations long after you've gone. Principle 7. Value-adding presence. We're now at our 7th principle, value-adding presence. This is about consistently bringing something positive to every interaction and environment you're part of, making your absence create a noticeable void. When you have a value-adding presence, you're not just occupying space, you're enhancing it. You make situations better simply by being there, whether through your knowledge, your humor, your empathy, your creativity, or your energy. As Ralph Waldo Emerson noted, the only way to have a friend is to be one. Think about the people in your life who seem to improve every gathering they attend. Perhaps they bring laughter to tense situations, or ask the questions no one else thinks to ask, or offer perspective that shifts the entire conversation in a productive direction. These people aren't necessarily the loudest or most charismatic, they simply add value consistently. When you cultivate a value-adding presence, you become someone others look forward to having around. You're the person they want at their dinner party, in their meeting, on their team. Not because you perform or entertain, but because interactions with you are simply better, more insightful, more enjoyable, more productive. And when you're not there, that's when your value-adding presence becomes most apparent. People notice the gap you leave, the missing perspective, the absent humor, the lack of that special energy you bring. They find themselves saying, "This would be better if they were here," or "I wish they were around for this conversation." Cultivating this quality isn't about grand gestures. It's about consistently bringing your best self to each interaction. It might be through small kindnesses, thoughtful questions, useful information, meaningful connections, or simply a positive attitude that lifts others up. So focus on adding value in your relationships and environments. Ask yourself regularly, how am I contributing positively to this situation? When you become someone who consistently makes things better, your absence creates a tangible loss that makes people genuinely miss having you around. Principle 8. Mindful listening. Our 8th principle focuses on something that seems simple yet is surprisingly rare: mindful listening. This powerful practice makes you not only more effective in conversations, but also more deeply missed when you're not around. Mindful listening goes far beyond just hearing words. It's about being fully engaged with the speaker, seeking to truly understand their message, emotions, and intentions. It's about giving the gift of your complete attention, making the other person feel genuinely heard and valued. Imagine being in a conversation where the other person is fully present with you, maintaining eye contact, nodding thoughtfully, asking clarifying questions, and responding in ways that show they've truly absorbed what you've shared. Not interrupting, not waiting for their turn to speak, not formulating their response while you're still talking, but truly listening to understand. How valued would that make you feel? When you practice mindful listening, you create remarkably strong connections. People leave conversations with you feeling seen, heard, and understood, often a rare experience in their daily lives. You pick up on nuances others miss, you remember details others forget, and you respond to what was actually said rather than what you assumed was meant. The impact of your absence becomes clear when people return to conversations where mindful listening is absent. They notice how often they're interrupted, how frequently their points are misunderstood, how rarely they feel truly heard. They miss the quality of attention you provide, the way you make them feel important through your focused listening. To develop this skill, practice giving your full attention in conversations. Put away distractions, maintain eye contact, and resist the urge to formulate your response while the other person is still speaking. Ask thoughtful follow-up questions that show you've been paying attention. Summarize what you've heard to confirm your understanding. When you master mindful listening, you become someone people seek out when they need to be truly heard and understood. Your absence creates a gap that surface-level interactions cannot fill, making people genuinely miss the depth of understanding you provide. Principle 9. Intentional growth. Let's explore our 9th principle, intentional growth. This is about becoming someone who is constantly evolving, learning and developing, making your journey fascinating to witness and your absence an opportunity for others to wonder what new dimensions your intentional growth means. You're not static. You're deliberately expanding your knowledge, skills, perspectives and awareness. You're actively working to become a better version of yourself, not because you're inadequate now, but because you're committed to fulfillment and excellence. As Socrates wisely noted, the unexamined life is not worth living. Imagine knowing someone who consistently brings new insights, skills, or perspectives to your interactions. Perhaps they've just learned about a fascinating historical event, mastered a new skill, read a thought-provoking book, or gained wisdom from a recent challenge. Each time you see them, there's something new to discover. They're never quite the same person you left last time. When you commit to intentional growth, you become a source of ongoing discovery for others. Your conversations are richer, your perspectives more nuanced, your contributions more valuable. You don't repeat the same stories, hold the same opinions, or rely on the same knowledge year after year. You evolve, and that evolution is engaging to witness. And when you're not around, people wonder what new discoveries you're making, what new skills you're developing, what new insights you've gained. They look forward to reconnecting to see how you've grown. Your absence becomes a time of anticipation rather than mere separation. Cultivating intentional growth doesn't require dramatic changes. It might be reading regularly, learning new skills, seeking diverse perspectives, reflecting on your experiences, or pursuing meaningful challenges. The key is consistency. Small steps taken regularly toward becoming more knowledgeable, skilled, and wise. So commit to your ongoing evolution. Be curious, be open to new ideas, be willing to challenge your assumptions. When you become someone who is constantly growing, your absence creates curiosity about your continuing journey, making others genuinely look forward to reconnecting with the ever-evolving person you're becoming. Principle 10. Healthy boundaries. Our 10th principle is healthy boundaries. Perhaps surprisingly, maintaining clear boundaries actually makes people miss you more, not less. Healthy boundaries mean knowing and communicating your limits, what you will and won't accept, what you can and can't give, and how you expect to be treated. Far from pushing people away, well-established boundaries actually create respect and appreciation for the time and energy you do share. As the philosopher Brené Brown observed, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. Think about it this way. When you're always available, always saying yes, always accommodating others' needs above your own, you become taken for granted. Your presence loses its special quality because it's expected and assumed rather than appreciated. Now imagine instead that you maintain clear boundaries around your time, energy, and availability. You're generous and giving when you can be, but you also honor your own needs and limits. You say no when necessary, you don't overcommit, and you ensure that your own well-being isn't consistently sacrificed for others. When you have healthy boundaries, the time others spend with you feels more valuable because it's not unlimited or guaranteed. Your presence becomes a gift rather than an obligation. Your interactions have more quality precisely because you ensure you have the energy and capacity to be fully present when you do engage. And when you're not around, people notice your absence more acutely because they don't take your presence for granted. They value the time you do give them because they know it's intentional rather than obligatory. They respect your space because you've taught them that your time and energy are valuable. Establishing healthy boundaries might mean scheduling specific time for relationships rather than being constantly available. It might mean declining invitations that don't align with your priorities or values. It might mean communicating clearly about what you can and cannot commit to. So honor your own needs and limits. Communicate them kindly but firmly. When you establish healthy boundaries, you teach others to value your presence rather than expect it, making your absence felt more deeply when you're not around. Principle 11. Consistency and reliability. Now for our 11th principle, consistency and reliability. In a world of flakiness and unpredictability, being someone others can count on makes you not just appreciated, but genuinely missed when you're not around. Consistency and reliability mean doing what you say you'll do, showing up when you say you'll show up, and being who you say you are, not just occasionally, but as a pattern of behavior that others can depend on. As the philosopher Heraclitus noted, character is destiny. Imagine knowing someone who always returns your messages within a reasonable time frame, who arrives when they say they will, who follows through on commitments without requiring reminders or nagging, someone whose word is as good as a signed contract. How refreshing would that be in today's world, where plans are often tentative and commitments frequently broken? When you demonstrate consistency and reliability, you create a foundation of trust that strengthens all your relationships. People know what to expect from you, and that predictability becomes a source of security and comfort. You become an anchor in a sea of uncertainty, a fixed point others can navigate by. And when you're not around, your absence is noticed precisely because your presence is so reliable. The gap you leave is more apparent because your contribution is consistent rather than sporadic. People miss the dependability you provide, the steadiness you bring to their lives. Cultivating this quality means making commitments carefully and keeping them faithfully. It means being punctual, responsive, and true to your word. It means developing systems and habits that support your reliability rather than leaving it to chance or mood. This principle doesn't mean being rigid or inflexible. Life happens and plans sometimes need to change. But when you're consistent about communicating changes and thoughtful about how they affect others, you maintain your reliability even when circumstances shift. So be someone others can count on. Make your word valuable by keeping it. When you master consistency and reliability, you become someone whose absence creates not just disappointment, but a genuine void that others feel acutely until your return. Principle 12. Cultivated excellence. Our 12th principle is cultivated excellence, becoming so good at something valuable that your skills and contributions are deeply missed when you're not around. Cultivated excellence means deliberately developing mastery in areas that matter, whether that's a professional skill, a creative pursuit, or a human quality like empathy or humor. It's about committing to continuous improvement rather than settling for mediocrity. As Aristotle wisely said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Imagine someone in your life who does something remarkably well. Perhaps they are an incredible problem solver, a gifted storyteller, a brilliant cook, or someone with exceptional emotional intelligence. When they're not around, their particular excellence leaves a noticeable gap that others simply can't fill in the same way. When you develop true excellence in something valuable, you become irreplaceable. Your specific capabilities, insights, or contributions can't be easily substituted by someone else. You bring something to situations that is uniquely yours, something that comes from dedicated practice and development. And when you're absent, people notice what's missing. They might think, she would know exactly how to solve this, or he would make this gathering so much more enjoyable, or they always know the right thing to say in these situations. Your excellence creates a specific void that makes your absence keenly felt. Developing excellence doesn't mean you need to be world-class in everything. In fact, trying to excel at everything typically leads to mediocrity across the board. Instead, identify areas where your natural talents, interests, and values align, then commit to deliberate practice and improvement in those specific domains. So, focus on developing mastery in areas that matter to you and bring value to others. When you cultivate true excellence, you become someone whose specific contributions are deeply missed whenever you're not around to provide them. Principle 13. Emotional generosity. Let's explore our 13th principle, emotional generosity. This powerful quality makes your presence enriching, and your absence create an emotional gap that others genuinely feel. Emotional generosity means giving freely of your emotional resources, your attention, understanding, encouragement, and support. It's about being willing to celebrate others' successes without envy, comfort them in difficulty without judgment, and invest in their growth without expecting return. As the Dalai Lama suggested, be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. Imagine someone in your life who consistently celebrates your wins, supports you through challenges, shows genuine interest in your growth, and offers understanding when you're struggling. Someone who remembers what matters to you, checks in when you're going through difficult times, and expresses authentic joy when things go well for you. How valued would that make you feel? When you practice emotional generosity, you become a source of psychological nourishment for others. You create connections that go beyond superficial interaction to meaningful support. You make people feel seen, valued, and cared for in ways that truly matter. And when you're not around, people notice the absence of that emotional sustenance. They miss the way you remember details about their lives, the sincere encouragement you offer, the genuine interest you take in their well-being. They feel the lack of your particular brand of emotional support. Cultivating emotional generosity doesn't mean depleting yourself. In fact, true emotional generosity includes healthy boundaries and self-care. It's about giving from a place of fullness rather than emptiness, which requires attending to your own emotional needs as well. This might look like remembering important events in others' lives, checking in during difficult times, celebrating their successes genuinely, offering encouragement when they're doubtful, or simply being fully present when they need to be heard. These seemingly small acts create lasting impressions and meaningful connections. So practice giving emotionally in ways that truly matter. When you master emotional generosity, you become someone whose absence creates a noticeable emotional void that others feel deeply until your return. Principle 14. Purposeful living. Our 14th principle is purposeful living, connecting with and pursuing meaningful goals and values that make your life compelling, and your absence create curiosity about your continuing journey. Purposeful living means being driven by something larger than momentary comfort or pleasure. Whether that's a creative vision, a contribution to others, a commitment to growth, or alignment with deeply held values. It's about moving through life with intention rather than merely reacting to circumstances. As Friedrich Nietzsche observed, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Imagine knowing someone who is clearly moving toward meaningful goals, perhaps building a business that solves real problems, creating art that moves people, developing skills that serve others, or growing in ways that inspire those around them. Their life has direction and momentum that makes their journey fascinating to witness. When you live purposefully, you become someone whose path others find compelling. You're not just passing time, you're using it to create, build, grow, or contribute in ways that matter. This quality of purposeful engagement makes your presence energizing and thought-provoking. And when you're not around, people wonder what progress you're making, what new developments are unfolding in your journey, what insights you've gained from your purposeful pursuit. Your absence creates curiosity about your continuing evolution, rather than just a gap in their social calendar. Living purposefully doesn't require grand ambitions or public recognition. It simply means being intentional about how you spend your time and energy, ensuring they align with what truly matters to you. It might mean pursuing meaningful work, developing important relationships, creating something valuable, or growing in ways that align with your deepest values. So connect with what gives your life meaning and purpose, then pursue it with intention and commitment. When you live purposefully, you become someone whose journey others want to witness and remain connected to, making your absence a time of curiosity rather than mere separation. Principle 15. Meaningful reciprocity. Our final principle is meaningful reciprocity, creating balanced relationships where what you give and receive creates a rhythm of exchange that others miss when you're not around. Meaningful reciprocity is about creating mutually beneficial dynamics where both parties contribute and receive in ways that enrich each other. It's not about keeping score, but about establishing a healthy flow of giving and receiving that sustains connection. As the philosopher Georg Simmel noted, exchange is the purest and most developed kind of interaction. Imagine a relationship where both people share insights, offer support, provide enjoyment, and contribute to growth in ways that feel balanced and energizing. Neither person is consistently giving more than they receive or taking more than they give. The exchange feels natural, generous, and mutually beneficial. When you practice meaningful reciprocity, you create relationships with a healthy rhythm, a dance of giving and receiving that feels good to both parties. You're not just taking or just giving, but participating in an exchange that honors both your needs and the other person's. And when you're not around, the healthy rhythm you've established is disrupted. People notice the absence of your particular contributions to the exchange. Whether that's your humor, your perspective, your support, or your encouragement. They feel the gap in the dance when one partner is missing. Cultivating meaningful reciprocity means being aware of both what you give and what you receive in relationships. It means noticing when imbalances develop and addressing them thoughtfully. It means being willing to receive as well as give, to ask for what you need as well as offer what others need. This might look like expressing appreciation for what others contribute, being honest about your own needs, noticing when you're giving too much or taking too much, and making adjustments to create healthier balance. It might mean learning to receive graciously as well as give generously. So focus on creating relationships with healthy give and take. When you master meaningful reciprocity, you become someone whose contribution to the exchange is noticed and valued, making your absence create a genuine imbalance that others feel until your return. Conclusion. In conclusion, these 15 principles work together to make you someone who is genuinely and deeply missed when you're not around. From authentic self-expression to meaningful reciprocity, each quality contributes to making your presence valuable and your absence felt. Remember, this isn't about manipulation or creating dependency. It's about becoming someone who brings genuine value to others' lives through your character, your contributions, and your way of being in relationship. When you embody these principles, you don't have to try to make others miss you. The beautiful thing about these principles is that they not only make you missed when you're absent, but they also make your presence more meaningful, your relationships more fulfilling, and your own life more satisfying. You're not just becoming someone others value more, you're becoming your best self. So which of these principles resonated most with you? Where do you see opportunities for growth in your own life? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, if you found value in this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content on personal development and meaningful living. And if you want to make sure you don't miss our next video, be sure to turn on notifications. Remember, becoming someone worth missing isn't about tricks or techniques. It's about authentic growth and genuine connection. Start applying these principles today and watch how your relationships transform as you become truly unforgettable. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.